Welcome. I'm Dee Perry, welcoming you to the official podcast of the Cleveland International Film Festival, CIFF Speaks. I am here with producer Aaron Spears. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, film fans. Is everybody exhausted yet?
Well, it is day 10, the final weekend of CIFF43, and still so much to look forward to through this weekend. But as we've been looking forward, Aaron, we've also been looking back. So what's a memory that you attach to the film festival at this point?
It's a memory, but it's also a current project I have. In my head, I think of it as like an ethnographic project. A long time ago, decided I wanted to see one film from every country I could find a film from while I'm alive. And I've had a great opportunity by attending the film festival over the years. I've checked off so many countries, and I love it because it gives you I think you've mentioned previously on a different episode, we were talking about shorts, how with the shorts, as with these different individual countries and their movies, it's a little window into the cultures, the people, the environment. You could have a period drama, you could have a contemporary film. So it's sort of places that I'm probably never going to visit, and people and cultures that I'm never going to experience or participate in. And I've so far checked off 71 countries. A good portion of those are from the Cleveland International Film Festival. In fact, one in 2006 I wrote down specifically. I didn't even know that Kyrgyzstan was making films, but I got to see a film from Kyrgyzstan back in 2006 called Saratan that was just this great little slice of life drama that also I'm probably never going to be able to find that movie if I wanted to watch it at home anyway. So It's one of those very specific film festival kind of things that you can do. Just a little window into other cultures. Just pick a country. They have a country index in the back of the program guide. And if you've never seen a film from Sri Lanka, go see one.
Yeah, I love that about the festival, and lots of people that I talk to put that at the top of their why I love the festival list.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah. Now, another thing that happens is that there are special events and promotions that happen throughout the festival, and I want to have you give us a heads up on what one of them is coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow, we want to give you a heads up just to prepare a little bit. It's Tommy T-shirt Day. It's presented in loving memory of Thomas A. Duke, who, as the film festival folks will note, has never met a CIFF shirt he didn't love and wear. Tomorrow, Saturday, April 6th, is Tommy T-shirt Day. So wear your favorite CIFF T-shirt, or today is a good time to swing by the merchandise shop and get this year's festival T-shirt so you can be part of the fun tomorrow. Yeah. Also for today, we do have the heads up that there is a Cleveland Indians game at 7:10 p.m. So Friday night at the movies down at the film festival is definitely the time to RTA or lift yourself right there to the front door.
Absolutely. And as it is day 10 of CIFF43, the fellow we're going to hear from on our behind the scenes segment today, Bill Guentzler, is joining us to talk about competitions as the festival is nearing the end. You may be nearing the end of your rope. But...
Yeah, no, it's going well so far. Yeah. I'm tired, but it's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that competitions is our topic today, but I'm also wondering if that's been part of the festival landscape from the beginning, even before you were here.
Yeah, I mean, our competitions outside of the Roxanne C. Mueller Award for Best Film started in 2003. So I was here when our first competition, the George Gund Central and Eastern European competition started. It wasn't named for him at that point, but we saw the festival landscape around the world, and a lot of festivals were popping up. A lot more festivals were popping up, and we looked at a section of the festival, a sidebar of the festival, the Central and Eastern European films, and created this competition because it's really important for Cleveland. A lot of the immigrant heritage of Cleveland comes from Central and Eastern European countries, and so it was a popular sidebar and is a popular competition. We're the only U.S. festival to have a competition like this.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah. And the submissions come from filmmakers generally outside?
Most of these films come from festival travels that Mallory and I do. I've been going to the Karlovy Vary Film Festival for years. That's outside of Prague. The past couple of years, I've been going to Tallinn in Estonia. And, we always work with the sales agents in the country, the ministries of culture from these countries to get the best from these countries.
And it sounds like you seek them out, but the festival, I'm guessing, has a big enough reputation that people around the world are also seeking you out.
Yeah, and they are respected competitions. And then more than just the films, it's the jurors that we have for our 3 juried competitions. Central and Eastern European Niznadny and Schwartz Portrait Documentary Competition and our new Direction Competition. Those are those are the winner of those competitions are chosen by 3 jury members on each competition. And I think that you look at the juries where, on Central and Eastern European, we have 2 programmers from international festivals. We have other lead industry people on all the juries, including, a critic for Hollywood Reporter. And so they spread the word about how great our festival is and the great experience that they had, and they look at the caliber of the film screening in those competitions.
How do you go about selecting the juries, or the jury members, I should say, for the different competitions? Is it just like professional relationships you have, or people
it's
from
both.
other festivals?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
It's the people that Mallory and I know just from the business, like people that we work with, people from the festivals that we attend, and then other leaders in the industry as well too. So and we try to put them in the right category for what they do in their lives. And now today, as all the jurors are here, hi jurors, hopefully you're listening, they'll be watching the films through the weekend and then announcing the winners of all the competitions at our closing night ceremony.
And they watch all of the films like with the audience at the festival, right?
It's partially.
Okay.
Each competition has each competition has 15 films, and so some of them they watch beforehand, and a lot. Some of them they've already seen at other festivals too.
Oh, true.
I know. Case one of the programmers came from her. The films came from her festival, so she's seen them already.
I'm curious about the Niznadny and Schwartz portrait documentary. What's the portrait?
So this competition, when we started it, it was just a general documentary competition. And then a few years ago, our jurors noticed that they are the majority of the films were portraits, which focusing on a person or movement. And so we really, when we named it in honor of Mark Schwartz, who is a longtime board member, the winner of this award is actually the May the Schwartz Be With You award.
Oh.
So he was really inspired by these personal stories, and so we made that special focus. And we have so many other documentary competitions through the festival as well. We're able to highlight these portrait documentaries.
The documentaries specifically at this festival, I remember years ago, really cracked it open for me, where I'd always thought of fiction films. You've got comedy, you've got drama, you've got thriller. And I had never thought about it until being at the festival, seeing like there are all these genres within the documentary genres, or I should say subgenres within the documentary genre as well. So it's really fascinating to have like just, let's focus on this genre for this particular award.
Exactly. And then I think that you brought up a good point, because if you look at the other competitions that we have, the Greg Gunn Standing Up competition, that's activism and social justice. And you look at our music movies, which is a hybrid between narrative and documentary films, but those are all about music or musicians. And, last year we started a new documentary competition called the Ad Hoc Docs competition, because this was everything else. We thought we had everything covered between global health and local heroes and everything like that, but we're just like, oh, where do we put all these other amazing documentaries? So we creted a new competition for all of them.
And that sounds better than everything else.
Yeah, true. We did have a hard time naming this. We're just like the other documentary competition. Yeah.
Another one I like is Local Heroes, because it combines quality filmmaking with a focus on this region.
Mm-hmm. And so films that are in this competition is narrative and documentary. Those are all either filmmakers from Cleveland, still living in Cleveland, or about Ohio, or filmed in Ohio.
As we'd mentioned when we talked to you, it feels like weeks and weeks ago, at the start of the festival, about sidebars and how those would get created. How have the different competitions sort of evolved or been created over the years? Like, what would prompt it?
Yeah, I think actually most of them, except for International Narrative, which actually, in a way, it did come come from sidebars, because you look at our, I'm just looking at the list, like Central and Eastern European, that was a sidebar. Documentaries was just a focus. New Direction was a sidebar. Local Heroes was a sidebar. Music movies was a sidebar. And then Real Women Direct is an award that we have, but that's eligible for every film that's directed by a woman is eligible. But the one thing that didn't start as a sidebar, I think, is the global health competition. And that started because it was all part of our standing up competition. And it got too big because there were so many amazing documentaries about activism, social justice, and environment that we kind of spun this off of standing up. And so that's got a great little story too. But most of them did come from sidebars where we focus on those films, and then we want to, award the filmmakers for making amazing films.
Seems like a very organic process. You're seeing what the audience responds to, and then building from there.
And we're not, forcing anything too. We know that
there's already demand there.
Yeah.
You mentioned jury members and festivals that they've been part of. I'm curious if you try to avoid duplicating. That is, if a film has won lots of other festivals, does it have less or more or the same chance?
No, yeah. I mean, I think that Mallory and I just are looking for the 15 best films that will fall into that category. And, it's a mix and match of films with distribution. And then it's up to the jurors. Some jurors necessarily don't want to give an award to a film with distribution because they think that they don't need it. But when I meet with the jury, when they all arrive in Cleveland, which will be tonight, we have a dinner, and I kind of describe our rules where there are no rules. It's up to them. And so I think that that's a great thing too, that every year it's different. They're looking at the films. Not only are they different films, they're looking at them a different way because it's that groupthink of those three individual people and what they bring to that jury.
Well, I so enjoyed talking with you about film, Bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Someone else who does a lot to keep the festival going is Beth Steele-Radisek. Beth, you wear so many hats at the festival, but you'd probably have to wear a lot more if not for the volunteers. Talk about that process. What kinds of roles do they fill?
Well, the volunteers are really the backbone of the CIFF. I don't even think we could put on a festival without them. So last year, our volunteer team was around 1,000 volunteers, and they worked over 10,000 volunteer hours for the CIFF. And I mean that year round. They're here to help and support. We begin in January. We have a couple Get Shorty events. They're there to help with the ballots and run them back and forth when we're counting. And then, and again, more of our mailings, they're here almost every day. And, and it's funny because everybody's like, oh, I waited to the last minute. Could I get 4 volunteers? And I'll post it, and it'll be filled within 4 seconds. And it doesn't matter if it's an hour before or if it's like 2 days before. They are always here, and they're ready to roll whenever we are.
What's the mechanism that gets them in? Do you place ads? Is it word of mouth?
So a lot of it's social media because Debbie does so much social media that we need volunteers. We get volunteers a lot in January, in February, in March, as you can imagine. But then all year we have it open, and they can just click on a link on our webpage, and it takes them right to Shiftboard to sign up. And I think so much of it is they hear their friends talk about it, and they love it so much. And we really love our volunteers, and we do as much as we can to make their day easy so they can come down to the festival with no money. We'll pay for their parking. We'll serve them a hot meal, and then they get 2 vouchers for volunteering, and they can just stay and see films. So it's a really nice gig, and I feel like every part of our team, the volunteer team, try to make it as fantastic as they can because we're so appreciative of everything they do.
So since today's Volunteer Appreciation Day, at the festival, they're noticeable because they have the volunteer shirts on. Hugs, high fives, appreciation if you see anybody in line or around the lobby for helping out volunteering today.
Yep, they so appreciate it. They love working this day.
Well, thank you. And a shout out to all the volunteers who make it possible for Cleveland International Film Festival to run so smoothly. And thank you, Beth.
Oh, thanks for having me. And I love our CIFF volunteers.
Thanks to volunteer coordinator Beth Steele-Radisek. This is CIFF Speaks. I'm Dee Perry with Aaron Spears, and we're telling you about some of the things that you can experience at the festival today. And one of those things, Aaron, is another film forum.
It is. Today's film forum is for the movie The Providers. It screens at 4:25 p.m. with the film forum to follow. This documents the El Centro medical system, which covers 22,000 square miles of northern New Mexico. It's largely kind of rural area. They provide care regardless of condition or the ability to pay. The topic specifically in this forum is how should we serve the underserved?
Good question. And likely to be a really interesting discussion. And that is the film forum at the Cleveland International Film Festival for today. On every day of the festival, RTA and Lyft are the easiest ways to arrive in style. Now, all RTA trains and many bus lines provide direct service to Tower City Center, and our official rideshare, Lyft, offers discounts for existing customers. The code is Lyft2CIFF, and for new customers at Lyft CIFF Newbie. If you want to keep up with everything CIFF, visit clevelandfilm.org, follow CIFF on social media, or use the CIFF app. I'm Dee Perry.
I'm Aaron Spears.
And thank you for listening to CIFF Speaks.